Alright, so in the last video I removed this, and in today's video I'm going to be attempting to locate where the 350 and the NV4500 are mounted. I'm also going to be cleaning up the frame rails and stuff like that, cutting down motor mount, and just in general trying to figure things out. I'm going to start cutting the motor mounts off. We got 3 generations. So we might need... Alright, let's see. And we are working on taking out the wiring. It includes taking out all the gauge panel. I'm hoping to either find some 12-volt ones that look the same. But all this stuff is just so connected. One harness, but I mean all these weird ends on them. And let's see here, what do we got here? So we got all like these are, we're guessing waterproof. It's been a few days since I worked on this. You know, we had another rain/snowstorm. But I got the motor mounts cut off, ground down. And now I'm gonna try to work on my garage a little bit since it is completely trashed. I've also been cleaning the frame up. You know, I still got some more to do here, but we've been wire brushing it down. Obviously it's sitting out in the rain, but what surprised me was let's get some focus here. On so many of these welds, there was still slag that I was chipping off. Let's see here, like right there. You can see where I chipped off some of it and left what was left there. And oh gee, there's another spot right there. It's just weird to me that all the slag was left on there and then painted over. It didn't seem to have any effect on the rusting effect, but then again, this truck probably didn't run around in the winter as much as, say, my Grand Prix missing its rocker panels. But now I did find a new motor mount solution from Speedway Motors here. This is a universal mount for a Chevy 350. I think this is 39 inches across. I gotta cut some off, but that's gonna work out real nice in there. I'm not having to figure out trying to put something like this on there and trying to create something to go on the backside and hug the frame. I'm going to be able just to cut these out and put them on the ends, weld them in, bolt them in, and it's welded real nice. Everything is very nice. Alright, so I'm getting this transfer case out of here so I can get that 350 up in here and start seeing what this looks like. Yeah, this thing was spitting grease, or I should say gear oil. I guess these things are pretty notorious for it, especially at higher speeds. They would literally boil the gear oil right out of the breathers, I guess. So yeah. All right, I got the bolts from the cross members out. You had to take out, this one's welded to the frame. And somehow I got it perfectly balanced on this. Let's see here. Ow. Let's see how perfectly balanced it is. I was waiting for it to fall on me while I was scooting it over. So I had to slide this off of here. That is coming down good. And there we go. NP200. Big old piece of iron. All right, well, now that I got that out, it's time to grab the 350 and the NV4500 and see. Probably gonna end up, now obviously I'm gonna have to modify that cross member or cut it out completely and find something different. But now it's time to get down to it. I suppose I could probably clean up a lot of this, make it look better. Take off some stuff. This thing's got an external oil cooler. I'm gonna get rid of that, and just these things are, it's filled with oil, stuff from mice. So gotta do one of these. I'm about to look inside and see what 250,000 miles looks like. It looks dirty. That's what it looks like. Alright, so for the most part we got the frame cleaned up, and I'm going to push this in and see where that's going to sit. Alright, so we're gonna let some air out of the front tires to equalize the front and the rear, since I have the Super Duty axle in the rear, and we still have the stock axle in the front. These tires are about 33 inches tall, and the back one's about 31. So we just want to bring the centers of the axle to about the same, which is about 15 inches. So we're going to let the air on the tires. Alright, so here's the motor mount that I bought. That hopefully works. Cross member. The new mounts themselves. It's all rubber and bolts right to the engine. I just got to find some bolts for those. And we're going to raise this thing up and slide it in there. I probably should have cut that cross member out already, but yeah, it comes with these. Alright, so I'm going to take off these old ones and put on the new ones. It's funny to me how these TVI motors still have the spot where the fuel pump goes, except for this thing hadn't been carbureted for, 350s hadn't been carbureted for like 9 years at this point. All right, we got the motor set in here. We got the Speedway mount on here. I'm just trying to figure out where I want it side to side so that we can cut that and get that down in here and see, you know, where it's going to sit on here on each side, you know, and it might not be equal this way. I'm just trying to make sure my tail shaft is lined up with the rear axle. This thing is 39 inches and it's about 30 and an eighth, so 31 and an eighth actually. So we got to trim this down, but I want to make sure I do it you know, good the first time and get this motor centered where it needs to be. So that's the next step. All right, so we're trying to measure to see how square we are and everything. So you got about what, 23 and a quarter. 23 and a quarter. Okay.
About as close as we're gonna get.
23 and what is that there? Oh, a quarter?
Yeah.
That's close enough.
About as close as we're gonna get it.
Yeah. It's just to get the proper markings left and right. We got a little more hanging over on the driver's side.
I'm sure that's why they, you know, it's equal this way. It doesn't mean it's gonna be equal once you get it in there.
Right. Opening up the motor mounts. All right, so on that Speedway motor mount, I had made my mark from the insides of the frame using a file, just so I was as close to the size that I could be, and then I used a large hose clamp to make it, you know, nice and straight going all the way around, so I can make my marks and cut. All right. We're getting this cross member out, the original one, where the drive line is offset to the passenger side, and that's the hole that the drive shaft for the front axle came through, which everything's going to be completely different, because with the Ford axles, the pumpkin's going to be on the other side, on the driver's side. Here is the original transmission cross member. And transmission sat there, and it had some little offshoot there, drive shaft came through there, and then this bolted in on the tops and on the bottom with 4 different spots on each side. But the way this sat, I think I'll be able to carve some of this out and cut this off and reposition it either higher or lower for the NV4500. So I'm going to crawl back underneath there and put it back in and see about where I should cut her down to. Alright, well, I ended up with something like this when I was done cutting and looking. I didn't get to do the old V shape like I thought I was going to, because the yoke and the drive shaft have to come through here. So I also have to either trim the center out of that, or the center and the top, because it is right in the way of where the drive shaft is going to have to run for the front axle. Or I'm going to have to try to cobble something up with the original transmission cross member out of the Chevy. Alright, so that's where I'm going to end this video today. I'm stopping short of having the motor and transmission welded in there, which is where I'm going to pick up next time. So thank you for watching. Join me for part 2, and we'll see how things go.